They're gonna be fighting over it. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you how I made this stylish doghouse, but it isn't just any doghouse. All throughout this project are products made by 3M that don't only consider what a builder needs, but also what the environment needs. The shingles, windows, solar panel, and insulation all have products designed by 3M to help create solutions for the most pressing climate challenges that impact people's lives. I'm using these products on a doghouse to show you where technology is advancing to, but imagine if every single new construction site were also using them and we started making our buildings work in better balance with nature. Let me show you how I built this doghouse. There are 4 main components: the deck, the front, the back, and the roof. I started by grabbing all of the parts that will make up the deck and laid them out on my workbench so that I could pre-drill and attach things together with screws. I do have a set of plans for this project if you'd like a material list and a cut list to build your own. Next, I laid out all of the flooring material to attach it to the top side of this framing. A tip whenever you're buying the 1x4s, if you go to the 1x4 common section, they're gonna be much more expensive. I recommend going over to the fencing section of the big box store and looking for 1x4 strips is what they're called. They're a little bit more beat up and junky, but with it being flooring, this is gonna be great and it's gonna be about 1/3 of the cost. You'll want to make sure that the frame is square before attaching the decking, and I used an 18 gauge nailer to quickly attach things. Okay, first big component down. Now let's set that aside and pull in the pieces that will make up the front. I cut all of the parts according to my cut list and then did a dry fit first just to make sure there weren't any obvious problems. Once everything was laid out and things seemed to work, I started attaching them. As you can see, I've pre-painted mine, and that's because of the color scheme I wanted in the end. It's much easier to paint the framing beforehand. After getting that done, I set it aside. Now repeat. And then also set it aside. The last major component to build is the roof. If you use my plans to build this doghouse, I would recommend keeping the pieces separated like this so it makes building time go much quicker. At each stage, I was able to bring in the needed parts for that assembly, then quickly arrange them and screw them together. If you notice me skipping the wood glue, it's because it doesn't stick well to painted parts. However, if you have raw parts, then you could use some on every joint. You just need to make sure it's exterior. After knocking out the framing for the roof, I applied this tongue and groove material on top. You could absolutely use some sort of sheet material like OSB or plywood, but I wanted the inside of the roof to match the siding I'll later add. Tongue and groove is awesome because it goes together so nicely and connects with the previous board. I'm once again using my 18 gauge nailer here to pin it to the framing. I started on one end and then worked my way down to the other. When I got to the end, I held the board in place, making sure that tongue and groove were facing the correct direction, made a mark on the underside, and then cut this board to the needed depth to fill in the remaining space. Alrighty, now let's play shuffle so that I can grab the deck and set it on the workbench. Now I'll grab the back to start, and if done correctly, it should slip right onto the deck. I pre-drilled and then threw in a few screws to attach it, then repeated with the front. However, since this house is a little bougie, there's a porch, so the front is set back a ways to create said porch. Cool. Okay, and that is what we have at this point. Now let's throw the roof on. I found it easiest to climb up on my workbench to do this, but building it on the ground could also work. The framing of the front and back walls have, I would call them ears on them, to help locate the roof. But it needed some help to seat the roof all the way down since it's a tight fit. Something that helped me is backing out the top screw in the framing to allow that ear to flex out slightly. Yeah. Then once the roof was seated all of the way, I could not only tighten back up on the framing, but also attach the framing to the roof to secure it. What a cutie. And it's only gonna get cuter. Next up is siding. This is made up of the same tongue and groove material I made for the roof, and it is just as simple to throw on vertical as it is horizontal. Once cut to length, you just need to make sure the board is going on, seated all the way down to the previous board. Again, I'm using my nailer to attach things. Nice and simple. When I get closer to the top, I use my bandsaw to cut the angles needed. Okay, will it work? Yes, it will. I am calling that good. I did the same exact process for the other side. Now let's go ahead and complete the front and back walls. I'm sure you're wondering why there are so many empty cavities designed in. It's because I wanted the doghouse to have glass paneling. I don't know about your dogs, but mine love to see what's going on in their domain. Instead of one large panel, which you can very well do if you want to simplify things, I decided to break it up into multiple small ones. And this is where our first 3M science product comes in. No, not the glass, but the film applied to the glass. A fun fact, visible light is light you can see and infrared light is what you can feel. 3M Sun Control Window Film Prestige Series reflects the sun's infrared light, significantly reducing the heat coming through the windows. In addition to that, they also reject up to 99.9% of damaging UV rays. Note I did get the tinted version. These films are designed to be applied directly to your existing windows to provide an easy and cost-effective upgrade versus replacement. Or in this case, to allow my pups the openness windows provide without the downside of letting the heat and UVs in. Cute. If you can't tell, I am loving this thing. Okay, moving on to the roof. Before adding shingles, I went around the edges and added metal drip edge. What I do to install this is I hold it on the edge, starting with the short side first, then cut it where the corners land. You'll want to use roofing nails to attach it down. Since one piece won't wrap all of the way around, I left the leftover amount hang out, then used a new piece to finish covering the remaining side, using roofing nails to tack through both. With that down, now it's a simple matter of nailing down the shingles. Here, I figured out the overhang on the left and then just let the right run wild. I'll cut it later. While I work on applying those shingles, let me tell you about the awesome science of these shingles. 3M is making smog pollutant reducing granules. Granules are the tiny particles that make up the shingles, and it might sound like a mouthful, but it is fascinating. These granules will absorb and hold onto nitrogen oxide in the air that touches it. Then it will turn it into water-soluble ions that not only wash away with the rain, but then carry the nitrogen to the ground below, which helps plants and grass. To put it simply, these granules will turn a roof into a smog-fighting surface that will take nitrogen from a place we don't want it and carry it safely to a place we do. It's very cool. Okay, and that, my friends, is how you can build your dog a bougie house. Very simply and easily, but also so stylish. Also remember, I have a set of plans available if you want to build your own. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more accessories to show you two more really cool products 3M has initiated and released in order to help do their part to change the world. First up is a dog bed. 3M innovated a 100% recycled featherless insulation called Thinsulate. It is made from 100% recycled content such as plastic bottles that end up in the landfill, meaning it's helping to address global waste. It's as lightweight as natural down and still performs when wet. Then the last thing to show off is called the Midsummer Solar Roof Panel, where 3M's Ultra Barrier Solar Film is incorporated. Due to low material consumption and a unique manufacturing process and production, Midsummer solar roofs have a 90% lower carbon footprint compared to traditional solar panels. I am so proud to be partnering with a company like 3M who isn't only concerned with their bottom dollar, but is setting goals to be carbon neutral and then investing the time, money, and research to innovate products to help accomplish them. Every new 3M product has a sustainability value commitment that shows how it contributes to the greater good. The 4 products in this doghouse are just examples. I really hope that you enjoyed this project, and don't forget that I have a set of plans not only for this doghouse, but also 2 other ones that I've done in the past. I will see you on my next project, guys. Come here. Yeah, boy, come here. Good boy. Good boy.